Welcome to Battle's History. In today's episode, we explore into the Battle of Fort Sumter, a significant event that marked the beginning of the American Civil War. Join us as we explore the historical context, key events, and the profound impact of this pivotal battle. The Battle of Fort Sumter took place from April 12 to 14, 1861, in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina. It was the first military engagement of the Civil War, as Confederate forces sought to assert their authority over federal installations in the seceded Southern states. This battle would set the stage for a protracted and devastating conflict that would reshape the nation. To understand the Battle of Fort Sumter, we must first grasp the historical context of the American Civil War. By 1861, tensions between the northern and southern states had reached a boiling point over the contentious issues of slavery and states' rights. Several southern states had already seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. Fort Sumter, located in Charleston Harbor, was a federal stronghold that remained under Union control despite South Carolina's secession. The fort represented the federal government's presence and authority in the region. Its control was a point of contention between the Union and the newly formed Confederacy. The Battle of Fort Sumter began on April 12, 1861, when Confederate forces, under the command of General Pierre-Gustave Toutant Beauregard, commenced an artillery bombardment on the fort. The Union garrison, led by Major Robert Anderson, valiantly defended their position against overwhelming odds. For 2 days, Confederate cannons bombarded Fort Sumter, with Union forces returning fire. The fort's defenders endured heavy bombardment, but their defensive capabilities were limited. On April 13, Major Anderson made the difficult decision to surrender the fort to prevent further loss of life. The surrender of Fort Sumter marked a symbolic victory for the Confederacy. It demonstrated their resolve and ability to challenge federal authority. The battle galvanized both the North and the South, with each side realizing that a long and devastating conflict was inevitable. The Battle of Fort Sumter had profound consequences for the nation. It ignited the flames of war and propelled the United States into a prolonged and bloody conflict. The battle further solidified the divide between the North and the South, making compromise increasingly difficult and setting the stage for a full-scale civil war. Following the battle, President Abraham Lincoln issued a call for volunteers to suppress the rebellion. This call to arms resulted in an upsurge of support for the Union cause, as northern states rallied to defend the Union and uphold the federal government's authority. The Battle of Fort Sumter also had international implications. It tested foreign powers' reactions and influenced their stance toward the war. The Confederacy hoped that European nations would recognize their independence, but the Battle of Fort Sumter demonstrated the Union's determination and resolve, making recognition less likely. Furthermore, the Battle of Fort Sumter became a rallying cry for both the Union and the Confederacy. It solidified the resolve of the Southern states to fight for their independence and preserve their way of life. For the Union, Fort Sumter represented an act of aggression that needed to be avenged and the Union restored. In conclusion, the Battle of Fort Sumter was a defining moment in American history. This opening salvo of the Civil War marked the beginning of a long and devastating conflict that would shape the nation's future. The battle's impact reverberated throughout the country, galvanizing both the North and the South and setting the stage for a prolonged struggle. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of the Battle of Fort Sumter, a crucial chapter in the American Civil War. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Battle's History for more captivating content on the greatest battles throughout history.